Well, welcome to United Social Television. And today, as I promised you that when I come back, you guys, I'm going to be here. This video is really made for you guys, the people who really subscribe in for United Social Television. And today, I really want to see you come here and give me something really good here at United Social Television. So, guys, the big thing is that Manchester United, the new Manchester United signing Facundo Pellistri, eager to commence his career for the Red Devils. You know, let me bring you back to speed that on Friday, this gentleman from Uruguay arrived in Manchester and he really said a lot. And among his other words, he said on his interview at arrival at Manchester United, he really said that he cannot really wait to play for Manchester United, and he really made a very big vow for two Manchester United players that, guys, I'm really going to come in here. I'm going to do something great for you guys, and don't feel offended here at Old Trafford, because I'm bringing in something that you guys have not seen before. He really made very big promises to Manchester United fans, and I think we are good to go with him. And I'm David here at United Social Television. And if at all you feel like you want to join me on this live, that's the link. You see the link in the live chat below. You just click it, and I'm going really to come in and call you, and you will join my stream, and we're going to discuss a lot about Pellistri Facundo from Uruguay, young lad, 18 years old. He's a player that is for the future, and he comes in an era of Manchester United where the manager, who is at Old Trafford right now, known as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is really what he fancies most. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is so much into grooming young talent. He really likes these young lads, and you see how he has turned around the careers of Anton Martial, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, Scott McTominay. So he is really doing a great job, and I think Facundo Pellistri really comes in at a time when there is a manager that can really take his career to the next level, and that is none other than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So Manchester United new signing Pellistri, eager to commence his career at Old Trafford under the manager known as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So guys, what do you think about Facundo Pellistri? Because he came in and said a lot on his arrival in Manchester. So the 18-year-old completed his move to Manchester United on the deadline day. We all know that. They triggered his buyout clause of £10 million from a club known as Penarol. And in Penarol, this young lad played 37 senior appearances for Penarol, and he only scored 1 goal. So he's really a very big prospect for Manchester United. He's a player that United really needs, and most of us really think he's a Jadon Sancho replacement, or he's the alternative that Manchester United brought in to cover up the gap of Jadon Sancho. That's what we guys are thinking here at United Social Television and many others. That's why I've done lots and lots of videos telling you that the Jadon Sancho replacement, and that's all alternative. That's Facundo Pellistri. So on his arrival at Manchester, he came in and said that it is incredible that just over a year, I made my debut in first team. Pellistri told Telemundo. It was unimaginable to play in the first division with Penarol and now to play for Manchester United. I would never have dreamed of it, and it is something very emotional for me and my family. There was a lot of talk about the two transfers, and unlucky, they tried to leave me out as much as possible, so I would go crazy. First come Lyon, then Man United, and I'm very happy with the opportunity. It is a league that I always watch with my parents, seeing great teams, and you can't imagine going to play there. Now that I have a chance to play there, I'm eager to start new adventure and see how the rhythm is, and if it is as intense as they say. It is the biggest club. I've come through the youth system. I was at the club for more than 7 years. I lived everything, my experiences, very nice things like debuting at Campeão del Slago Stadium, Penarol's home, among others. It was a dream and a pleasure to play for them. I'm living with a lot of desire to return one day. That's what Facundo Pellistri came out and said as he arrived in Manchester United. He can't wait to play for Manchester United. That's what he said at first. He's really a player that is focused, and he really wants to see to it that he really meets the standards of Manchester United. That's Facundo Pellistri for you. He came in at Manchester United on the D-Day. That's when he was brought in. Remember, on the D-Day, United brought in 4 signings. The first was Alex Telles, another one was Edson Cavani. The other was Amman Diallo and Facundo Pellistri from Uruguay. So United brought in 2 Uruguayan players at Old Trafford on the D-Day, and this player goes by Facundo Pellistri and Edson Cavani. Leave Bellingham, Edson Cavani. There is another signing that United made that is called Amman Diallo. That is one of the most amazing talents that we've seen from Italy, and is one of the young players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they started scouting in 2015. No, I think when he was 15 years, that means 3 years ago, United was scouting this player, and they really went in for him and paid 35 million pounds, but the deal will add up to 40 million pounds with add-on. So that's what we should know about this deal. And trust me, signing a player at 40 or 40 million pounds at that age of 18, that means that player is really nice. You will see the likes, these other players that are the Eric Ellands, they went at 18 million pounds. You get Jude Bellingham, you see, he came at 35. So you know the quality of Jude Bellingham. So coming at that age at Manchester United, and United releasing that fund, that is 35 million pounds to 40, to bring that lad, that means he's a very big prospect for the future. And when you look at him and what the agents are talking about him all over the world, it's really a player that is going to do Manchester United great. So a lot of signings have come in, but I'm so much focused on Facundo Pellistri because he was put straight into the first team. Leave alone Alex Telles. He's a proof player. He played for FC Porto. He won matches. He has scored close to 50 goals in his career. He has made assists every season. He's a player that is proven. He plays for Brazil, so we all know him. The same applies to a player known as Edson Cavani. He has scored very many goals. When you look at Edson Cavani's statistics, they really speak for himself. But I'm looking at the alternative of Jadon Sancho that United really came in and spotted for him. So I'm really trying to bring us to speed to see how does Manchester United bring in a player of this age to come in and compete with the likes of Mason Greenwood, Daniel James of this world. And he is not a proven player from Europe. He is a player from South America. And kudos goes to the scouting agents of Manchester United and the board that this season has taught us that Manchester United has really started to believe in scouts outside England. Because when you look at the signings that Manchester United made when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just came in, Daniel James from England, that is United Kingdom, Wales, Wan-Bissaka, England, United player, from Crystal Palace to Manchester United, 50 million pounds. We got Harry Maguire at 80 million pounds from Leicester City to Manchester United. So what does that show you? That Manchester United was so much into buying English talent, but English talent has costed it a lot, and this Manchester United team has really suffered a lot because this team is being dominated by the English players, and their impact is not all that much apart from the likes of Marcus Rashford. Harry Maguire, he puts on some good performances today, and the next day he does the opposite. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka really had a first debut season, but this season he has not yet played up to his expectations. So when you look at the other signings United has made this time around, I don't see any English player. That is just a very big plus that Manchester United, before, they were not trusting their scouts outside England. But this time around, they went ahead to trust their scouts outside England by bringing close to 5 players. 5 players. And all those 5 players are outside England. Jillian Jata says, hello, can I ask, want to go to Real Madrid? Or yes, that's it. Trust me, when Pogba made that statement about him having a dream to play for Real Madrid, all that comes in because, one, he's running out of contract. He was like sending a message to the board that, please, You have not yet contacted me of making new contacts here at Manchester United. So guys, I have a dream team called Madrid, and you guys, if you don't give me a contract and the money that I want, I'll be a free agent and I'll sign a pre-contract with Real Madrid. That's it. Pogba really wants to play for Real Madrid because even Zidane made him his priority signing. And I think if it was not because of COVID, because COVID affected Real Madrid to an extent that they couldn't even pay £40 million for Danny Van Beek to come to their club, and Manchester United went in to sign for him. Remember, Danny Van Beek had agreed terms and conditions with Real Madrid the previous season, and he was supposed to go to Real Madrid this summer, but the deal was not made because a player or a team in the names of Madrid really saw to it that they cannot make these signings happen. That's why you saw they let off Sergio Reguilon. They sold him off. They loaned Gareth Bale because he was one of the players that really had a very big salary, close to £30,000, no, £300,000 a week. So they sent him off. So even they couldn't get in Paul Pogba, and Paul Pogba is like begging himself that, please, Real Madrid, aren't you seeing me? I'm available. You guys, come for me. So Gillen Jata, Paul Pogba, made this, and he made this statement because he's really making himself a way to go to Real Madrid, to go in and play there. He says he loves Manchester United and he has a dream to play for Real Madrid. But me as Rokan, I really saw that as a very big insult to a team like Manchester United. Being at Manchester United, you are double standards. You are saying you love Manchester United and your dream team is Real Madrid. So what does that show? It shows one thing, that you are not happy at Manchester United. Paul Pogba, you would have gone right into and said that, please, I'm not happy at Manchester United and I really want myself not to be at Manchester United. That's Paul Pogba for you. So guys, Paul Pogba is a player that I think shouldn't really be a United player. That's what I'm thinking, because I would like it most when the board really sells off Paul Pogba. If Paul Pogba goes for close, because his value is like £120 million to £150 million, if it's not COVID. If COVID is included, I think we'll go for £100 million, between 100 and 110. So if we got a player like Danny Van Beek at £40 million, Bruno Fernandes at £68 million, what does that mean? It means, one, sell Paul Pogba at £100 million. You will go and get a midfielder. You saw us go Thomas Partey. He's a nice player. If there are very many other midfielders in the world that can go for £40 million, that you see Danny Van Beek, 40, 50. So in £100 million, sell Pogba to Real Madrid. After selling him to Real Madrid, get in two players really. Bring them at Old Trafford and they'll do us something good. I don't like Paul Pogba. I don't like the way he plays. I saw him today playing for France. He played very well. He was chasing the ball. He really was playing box to box, something that cannot do at Manchester United. So that means he is fed up of Manchester United. He does not really want to play for us, and I don't want to. I see no reason as to why he's still a United player. He should be sold off. He should be sold off. That's what I think. Paul Pogba should be off the Manchester United ladder. He should be sold off, and I don't really see him or fancy him as a Manchester United player. So Paul Pogba, I'm saying he shouldn't be a United player. I really want to see him leave Manchester United because I see his services are not welcome at Manchester United. Trust me, he is not giving us what's supposed to be giving us. If you watch the match today of France and Portugal, you saw the Pogba that we all fancy to be at Manchester United. But guess what? He's not the guy. He's not the guy anymore. He's not the guy anymore. So I think he should be sold off, and we really need a lot of other players to come in at Manchester United. So guys, today, as I promised you that you guys are going to come in and talk to me, one thing I want you to do is, I've posted that link in the live chat below. I think you are seeing it. As you click that link, he will send an invite for you to come wanting to talk to me. So if you follow that link, you will be placed on the live right here, and we'll be discussing issues here at United Social Television. As you always told me that we want to talk to you, we want to call in. So there is the link. The link you see there, I've just posted it in the live stream chat. You can go in and like, or you just click follow that link. Then I'll call you up here and we'll be discussing issues about a lot of Manchester United issues concerning Facundo Pellistri, the new lad that just came in, who landed in Manchester. That is Facundo Pellistri, the 18-year-old from Uruguay, and you know, he has just come. Now I have someone called Kosi. Let me add Kosi to the stream. Kosi.
Yes, David.
How are you, Kosi?
I'm very fine. I'm very fine. And how are you doing, David?
I'm doing great, and it's fine to see that you are here. You are the first person that I'm hosting on the show.
Interesting.
And it has gone down into the books of history that Kosi was the first person to come onto the stream of United Social Television. Thank you. And shocking enough, you are not even a United player, a United fan.
It's interesting, really interesting.
Or you are like these other, there are people, there are fans that really go in and say, like, those years that Liverpool spent without winning trophies, they went in and said that I'm supporting Manchester City because Man City came in and they put in a lot of money and they won Premier League after close to 50 years. And Liverpool had not registered a trophy. And Liverpool fans were saying that, please, for me, I support Liverpool, but my other team that I support is Manchester City because it was really I don't know whether you're on that ladder too. Are you no strings attached?
Not really. Actually, there is there is a lot of talk that many Manchester City fans were Arsenal, Liverpool, and those fans that was frustrated in that era, especially Arsenal and Liverpool, that they form a big population of the Manchester City fan base. And I hope when Manchester City starts going down, because it is already going down, I just pray they don't become fanless. I just pray they stay with their fan base.
Now, Kosi, let's kickstart off this.
Yeah.
I have a person here. He's called Glenn Jeter. He first said and he first commented and told me that, can I ask you, Pogba want to go to Real Madrid? And I told him that the statement that Paul Pogba made was, for me as a United fan, I was not happy about it. That his dream team is Real Madrid, and he loves Manchester United, but his dream is to play for Real Madrid. You get? Me as a United fan, I saw it as a very big offense because Manchester United and Real Madrid are almost the same caliber, as in the name, the big brands of football.
Yeah.
And I told him that for me, I was not happy with it. So can you help me also give me your view on what Paul Pogba said, that his dream team is Real Madrid? I want to hear your side.
Yeah, actually, Pogba, all of us thought, because I think he has had this, kind of, disturbance, for the past 4 or 5 months. All of us thought Mino Raiola was his big problem. Of course, we know that, he has a bad influence on his players. He wants them to always be on the road, get quick money from them, and always disturb them. So all of us thought, maybe Raiola is the problem. He had a big war with with Manchester United, and he wanted to force his player out. But eventually, after Bruno signed in January, we thought everything was going to be calm. Pogba had found his best playing partner, who'd be Bruno Fernandes. But what's really interesting is I don't know why Pogba does that. I don't believe that in the situation in which Real Madrid is, right now, he's trying to say that he's attracted to Real Madrid. He's not trying to do that. I think he's trying to tell Manchester United that my contract is running out. You're not doing anything, and he's putting Madrid as a big threat to threaten Manchester United, because they know Pogba is an Adidas brand. So you lose him, you're losing something. You're losing something of Adidas, and you're adding it to Real Madrid. So I think he's trying to call them, showing them that guys, my contract is here and running down. I'm gonna become a free agent. I cannot become another Mario Götze, very young, and then you're a free agent. You're on the hype almost for 5 years at Juventus. You join Manchester United, and then a very fast downfall. You become a free agent. Pogba cannot stand being a free agent. I think he's trying to threaten the Manchester United board, to get to get into talks for his contract. And I'm very, very super sure that if Manchester United sit in talks with Pogba, he's going to forget all about this Real Madrid stuff, because at least among all people, Pogba knows that he's not going to sign for Real Madrid. Right now, Madrid have their own financial constraints. They have their own problems on the pitch. Zinedine Zidane would want to get a very good team that he understands so well. If they're going to sign someone, they're going to sign a player who has had a good run, a good spell of football this season. Now, I don't think if Pogba really doesn't want to play football for Manchester United, basing on the fact that he wants to go to Real Madrid, I don't think he is going to go to Real Madrid with bad football. Maybe if he's telling us that he's not going to, he wants to go to Madrid and he's not going to sign a new contract. But the moment he enters talks for a new contract, that only shows us that he's only calling for the attention of Real Madrid. I don't really buy the idea that he wants to go to Real Madrid. If he wanted to go to Real Madrid, he has a good opportunity. Why not just wait for your contract to expire and then get out of the team? Why do you start making noise before? I think he's just calling for a contract. He's calling for a contract from Real Madrid.
I think we've agreed. One of the things I've agreed on with you is that they are using Real Madrid as a bait, because because Mino Raiola is a very money oriented. He's a very money oriented agent. You know that.
Yeah.
That's why Eric Eland, the Haaland guy, never came to Manchester United. Reason, because he wanted, if at all, any team that was going to take Haaland, the team had to put out a buyout clause for Haaland. And a man known as Ed Woodward said that when you look at a club like Manchester United, when we get young talent, we really get it at Old Trafford and we groom it to the best players that we want. That's why even Sir Alex Ferguson said that a player known as Ronaldo did him something he never expected, because he groomed Ronaldo. He knew that Ronaldo was going to be the next Ryan Giggs, because Giggs never played for any other team apart from Manchester United in his senior football.
Yeah.
Having been brought from Manchester City while he was young, then they brought him at Manchester United. So United is it's like the cult of Manchester United. They want to get a young player and groom him to reach the world standards, then he stays at Manchester United. So when you look at the situation at Real Madrid, having agreed a deal with Danny Van Beek the previous season, and they couldn't even pay £40 million to bring Danny Van Beek at the Bernabeu, at Real Madrid. That went straight into Pogba's head that his deal with Real Madrid is not going to happen, because Paul Pogba's price value, if it's not COVID, it's between £120 million to £150 million. If we are into the COVID situation, value him at 100 and 110 or 115 million pounds. So I think he was doing that because he knew that he needs a new contract at Manchester United, and there is an amount of money that is weird that he wants, close to £500,000 a week. That's the money he wants.
Yeah.
So I think he's pushing the move to, he's pushing Manchester United to the world to say to Italy they sign him. But me as a United fan, as you see, Gillen Peter was saying that yes, we sell him, that money we sell, we can have two very good players. That's what I told him when he asked me the question. I told him, if I'm Manchester United, I offload Pogba at £100 million, and I get a player like Bruno Fernandes. Bruno came in at £68 million.
Yeah, the problem with players like Pogba is where they go. How do you offload them? They don't actually look like deadwood because they are not. But where do you offload them to? How much are they willing? Because if I look at Pogba, who's willing to take him? You think about Real Madrid if they had the financial ability. You think about Juventus because they are interested. And of course, there was one Italian journalist who said, if not for COVID, then he would have been a Juventus player. I don't know how true, and what he based on to say that. Then probably I would think about PSG, but they also have their own financial problems. So I think Pogba just needs to settle down. He's a good player. He's a quality player. If you ask yourself, who is one of the, who is the best, CDM or the best, box-to-box player around Europe right now, top 5 players, you can't fail to mention Paul Pogba in the top 3.
He's number one. He tops that list.
Yeah, exactly. He's number 1. He just needs to settle down, play football. He's in the age where you have to play football, to prove anyone. This is an age, 25 to 30. That's when you have to play football. I think he just needs to settle down, play good football at Manchester United. If Madrid wants you, it will come. It's going to come, and then tell Manchester United, I want to move up like Cristiano Ronaldo did. Because just imagine if Ronaldo, just woke up one day and said, I'm not going to play for Manchester United anymore because I want to go to Real Madrid. I think if you want to play for a club, that like Real Madrid, you've got to earn it. And yeah, I know Manchester United fans would want to offload him, but you have to ask yourself a question: who is going to match up his asking price? Who's also going to pay his wages? Because in this day and age, although football is getting crazy, you see clubs sign players at very high fees and at very high prices, but they don't pay them those crazy wages.
You're right.
I think Manchester United is one of the clubs, if not the club, that has crazy wages. It has almost top 10, 10 players at 200k plus a week.
And let me tell you something about. Let me supplement something. United went into it's the club that has a second choice goalkeeper who is earning 120,000 pounds a week.
You can see that.
Where do you find that? So let me give you an example. Another example is Phil Jones.
Yeah.
He was awarded a new contract. He's injury prone, having not even been playing at Manchester United for the previous 2 years, not playing 3 or 4 consistent games.
Yeah.
He was awarded a 5-year contract, and a year he earns close to £4 million a year. The contract that is given to him each and every year. You go to one matter, not playing, but he earns £160,000. Even Bruno Fernandes earns £100,000. You see? So when you talk about the wages of Paul Pogba and things concerning his destination, but one thing I know about him is, nowadays there is what we call social media.
Yeah.
Do you know the reason as to why Jesse Lingard is still at Manchester United? It's because he's the king of social media. Yes?
I think maybe he uses some charm or something, because he's a player I would expect to be out of the Premier League. Not even Fulham would accommodate him.
Yes, but the good thing is he really keeps the image of the club alive on social media. Look at his Instagram picture. You get?
He's actually a social media manager.
Yes. Look at Paul Pogba, the same thing. Now teams are so much interested into players, if at all they can come and deliver something on the pitch and outside the pitch, what do you offer to the club? So Paul Pogba has a lot of things on him. I think that's why Manchester United really want to stay. United want Paul Pogba to stay, but for my case, I really don't want him to start United if at all I was a coach. Because look, like last season, who knew that Freddie could be a man of such a playing character like exhibited last season in 2019-2020 season? And that all became because Paul Pogba was injured, and you saw how Freddie performed. Now, Kosi, let me first send some shouts to the people that are watching in here. I see Luke256 says, shout out to you all, thank you. You are in Singapore and you are watching in. He says, can you compare Green and David James? We are coming there, we'll compare. Although none of them played at Manchester United, but Robert Green and David James, we're coming there. He says he's coming from Singapore. There is another person called Jennifer Williams, says, please, is Daniel James still in Manchester United? Madam Jennifer Williams, the answer is Daniel James is still a Manchester United player. All Ghana Social wanted United to sell him to Leeds such that they get £25 million to add it to the 80 that they had to go into Borussia Dortmund to get him Jadon Sancho, but the board said no, it will look bad to sell Daniel James after him spending 1 season at Manchester United. So the board betrayed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had reached an extent that he wanted to get other funds from from selling Daniel James to Leeds, that is 25 million pounds, to add it to the 80 that the board of Manchester United had to bring in Jadon Sancho. So Jennifer Williams, Daniel James is still a Manchester United player, and he played today into the Wales game. That is is it UEFA Cup of Nations? It's called UEFA.
UEFA Nations League.
UEFA Nations League. He played today at Wales, and they are going to return after that. They are remaining with one game. I think they are playing it either on Tuesday or Wednesday, and on Thursday they will be back at Manchester United to train. And someone asking about Daniel James Kosi brings us to the topic that this video was all about, and it was all about a player known as Facundo Pellistri, eager to commence his career for the Red Devils. He went ahead and said, let me read to you what he said in his interview when he arrived in Manchester. He said that the Premier League is a league that he always watched with his parents, seeing the great teams, and you can't imagine to play that side. Now that I have the chance to play at Manchester United, I'm eager to start new adventure and see how the rhythm is, and if it's intense as they say. Now, Kosi, let me first give you a brief statistic of this lad. He's 18 years old. He played 37 games last season in Panarel, in the team where he was. The team was in the Premier League of Uruguay. So he played 37 games and he scored 1 goal. Have you watched his clips on YouTube?
Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him on YouTube.
Now the ball is over to you. What do you think? For me, I call him as a Jadon Sancho alternative.
Yeah, everybody, I think if we're talking about Jadon Sancho alternatives, there were so many in the transfer window. There was Ismail Sarr, Premier League proven. I think that is the best defense you would give about him. Premier League proven. He has been in the Premier League. He beat Liverpool. We could think about that. There were so many players. You could go for Ousmane Dembele and the others. Pellistri, these young boys that that need to be groomed at Manchester United. If you're looking at Pellistri, like the way you looked at Rashford 2-3 years ago, when he had just come in, bumped into Arsenal, he beat us. I think it was a press. You started introducing, Marcus Rashford slowly by slowly, and then he's developing into a man. But the right wing right now at Manchester United is a key area. If Danny James, who recorded almost 7-8 assists last season from the same position, is not enough, that means you need to bring in someone who's super better than Daniel James. And then you don't think about Facundo Pellistri, you don't think about some average player. You're going to think about someone who's way better than what you have, because that is what United needs. That number 7 shot, that number 7 role is always key at Manchester United, is key in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's setup. You see he has Rashford to the left, but the right is really lacking. Now, if you give him Facundo Pellistri, which I believe was not his signing, it must have been, some, big man, smoking cigar in that board that, recommended Facundo. It's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's signing. It's not the kind of player he was asking for.
The problem is, we have a problem at Manchester United.
Yeah.
And this problem comes in here. When you look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and these young players, I think I can go. This time around, I'm disagreeing a lot with people who say that these are not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's signings. Because when you look at these young players, there is the way Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has really turned their careers into being great players. You remember at Haaland, he's the one who was coaching Haaland at the age of 16, and he told him that you cannot, the amount of football you're playing here is way far. It's not supposed to be playing in Norway.
Yeah.
So he sold him to, is it RB Leipzig? No, it's Red Bull Salzburg. Yes, so he's a manager that is with good talent, and I think these players were on the ladder and United was watching them. So he said they were scouting Amman Diallo in Italy for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
and he said for the last 14 months they were scouting Pellistri in Uruguay.
Yeah,
and I know he was really pissed off when he never got Jadon Sancho. I know that. So I think he had players. I think he reached an extent and told the board that, please, if you're not getting me Jadon Sancho, I don't want Ousmane Dembele, because if at all United wanted Ousmane Dembele, they would have gone for him on that day.
Yeah.
Because United dishing out £50 million, that's something small for Ed Woodward because he's saving some money.
Yeah.
After all, they paid for £40 million for Amad Traore. So I think he told them, I don't want Ismail Sarr. I don't want Ousmane Dembele. Let me get this young, exciting talent in and see how I can work with them. So I think he loved these players. And he said that don't give me Ousmane Dembele and Ismail Sarr, because even right now, Ismail Sarr is still available, but United has not gone for him. So for my case, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, let me get this young talent at Old Trafford. Although they've not got me my priority signing, I think let me settle for less, but I'll do something good with this player. So that's what I'm thinking. That's my thoughts. It's not like confirmed information, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I understand. There's some signings that I can say they are social signings. Like, they are social signings demanded for this kind of player. But it really amuses me that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, someone's going to come and convince us that Solskjaer never asked for a fullback.
A fullback, a centre back.
Yeah, a centre back. Sorry, a centre back. That he never asked for a centre back.
He asked for a centre back.
But where was that? Where is the centre back?
The centre back was not given to Manchester United. One, Kosi.
Yes.
To make it worse, on all the 4 players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted, they never got him none. They got him none of those players.
Exactly.
These other players, they were just alternatives that he had on the list. That was the alternative list that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had. But they are not the main targets. One, he never wanted Danny Van Beek. He wanted Jack Grealish. Yeah. But for that case, Dan Van Beek is a far better player than Jack Grealish. I think that was a blessing in disguise, because Jack Grealish had a price tag of £60 million.
Yeah.
He wanted Upamecano from Leipzig. They never got him that player. You get? He wanted Jadon Sancho. They never got him Jadon Sancho, because for him he believes Mason Greenwood is not a winger. He knows Mason Greenwood is a forward, or a number 9, or a striker. That's what he believes in. So he thought that when I don't need a forward like Edson Cavani. That's why for Edson Cavani, I really agree that's not a social signing. I 100% agree, because for him, he wanted to bring in Jadon Sancho such that Anton Martial and Mason Greenwood could fight for that number 9 role at Manchester United. So let's continue with the signings that you were talking about the centre back. So
it's interesting that it amuses every Manchester United and football fan that Manchester United didn't sign a centre back, because we were more than sure that one of the key areas United had to fill was that centre back. Solskjaer knew more than anyone that he's going into the Champions League with a centre back, Harry Maguire, that needs a better partner. And the first person that was linked was Nathan Ake. One person you think could actually complement Harry Maguire's play on the pitch. Nothing happened. All right, we went to the left back. Manchester United linked with a couple of options. They went for Alex Telles. That is a good signing. Now the right wing. That was the priority of Manchester United, because Rokani, remember, Solskjaer came. Solskjaer is the man who wants to save his job, and he knows that. He knows that to save a job at Manchester United, these fans are hungry. These are not Arsenal fans. These are not Chelsea fans. These are not Liverpool fans that can wait for 20 years.
True.
Fans of Manchester United are the most aggressive fans, in football. You can see that on Facebook, you can see that on Twitter, you can see that on YouTube. Very aggressive. They're going to, you lose 2 games, they're going to put up banners, Solskjaer out. So he needs to save his job. He asks for these signings, and they do not come. But they give him a sharp number 7 person in Edson Cavani, 33 years of age. And I asked myself, United spent 20 million almost on that deal, 20 million on that deal, and an extra 38 million on Amman Traore. And I really asked myself, could United get a better partner?
Because Amman Traore It's 35 plus 5 million pounds, closing 40 million pounds.
Yeah,
They bought him.
you know, almost 40 million pounds. That is 60 million pounds. And you don't do the manager's wish, but then in the media, it's always portrayed as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is, you know, losing the dressing room. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer loses this game. Solskjaer starts this and this. No one talks about, you know, no one talks about how, you know, they failed to give him his signings. And right now, the pressure has been shifted from Glazers, from, you know, from Woodward to Solskjaer, comparing him to Pochettino, comparing him to you know, Nagelsmann, you know, this RB Leipzig man and the others. The problem at United is not going to be the manager. He's not the manager. I think Solskjaer deserves that, you know, deserves some respect. Where he picked up that team from, when Jose Mourinho had just smashed everything, smashed all the structures, smashed all the roots and everything, to an extent where, you know, you could recognize that this is the new Manchester United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. This is the new United. United are playing like this. United have this and this. You know, he brought in the Rashfords. You know, he started building a team that, you know, even Manchester United fans were sure it could win the next game and game number 3. Now, he, you know, he's saying, now we have built this, but we need to add this and this. No signings. The body's not behind him. And everybody's, you know, has started, you know, the song Solskjaer out. Pellistri is not about, but because we have seen United use the young lads. Like Rashford was not, you know, he's not an old player. He comes in as you know, at a young age, develops and evolves with the team. He's now, you know, he's now a world-class player. You can talk about, you know, talk about him as a world-class player. One of the homegrown talents right now in the Premier League that you can talk about is Marcus Rashford. Well appreciated. But right now, it's a do or die. You have games coming in, Rokan, and remember, this season is going to be compressed. Games are going to be more compressed because we have to create time for the next season. We have to go, you know, we have to go back to normal. We have to go back to the normal schedule. We have to go back to we have Euros coming in, so games are going to be compacted and compressed. That means you have to have squad depth. You have to have you have to get the best team on the pitch, the best team, you know, the best starting lineup. And you know, I don't even blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If he asks for Facundo Pellistri, these are players that we do as, you know, squad players. I'm resting, you know, Rashford. I'm resting Sancho. Who do I bring in the EFL Cup? Who do I bring in? You know, for example, if you are playing the last game in the UEFA Champions League, I can bring in Facundo Pellistri because, you know, maybe we don't need this game so much. I think that, you know, that was the idea, you know, behind it. But the truth, if I look at Edson Cavani, I just know the board was not behind Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in this transfer.
Yes, they are not behind Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in this transfer. And now, let me ask you: do you think Pellistri will put or will increase pressure, or there will be a competition? Is he going to create some good competition or a better competition between him and Mason Greenwood?
It's really going to be very hard. It's really going to be very hard, especially now. You know, one of the greatest tools English players have when they are playing at home is the media.
True.
If you drop out Mason Greenwood and Pellistri doesn't do magic, that is a whole lot of problems. They are going to criticize him from A to Z. That is one. So he's going to battle out Mason Greenwood, but also he has to battle out the media. And look at the league where he's coming from. Look at his experience. You know, is it true that, you know, he's this kind of player that's going to give you what you want instantly? Yes, he can do it maybe for, you know, after 2-3 seasons at the club. But right now, you need a player who could just kickstart. You know, a player who would be, you know, who would play at Manchester United as if they have been playing there for the past 2 seasons. Like you see Van der Beek, he plays in the Premier League very comfortably, like he has been in the league for the last 2 years. You needed that kind of player. Pellistri, I cannot judge him. He's you know, he's still a young talent. Yeah, but I don't think, you know, he deserves to put, or he's going to put enough pressure to put Mason Greenwood out of that lineup. I think Greenwood is going to play the whole season, and the pressure on Greenwood might actually affect him.
So another question. The reason as to why I brought that question was on 6th. That's when they handed in their Champions League squads, 25-man squad to Europa, to UEFA. So Pellistri happens to be in the 25-man squad that Manchester United named.
Yeah.
And Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, and Terry Mengi were not named in the 25-man squad because 24 hours to the game, there is a clause into that law that allows a player who has been at the club from the age of 15 to feature into any Champions League squad, provided it's handed in 24 hours to them. So I'm wondering, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has something special for this lad. If at all he made him, he sacrificed Mason Greenwood for him into the Champions League 25-man squad. I think there is something special Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is seeing in this lad. Because these are the things that he saw in the likes of the way he turned around the career of Anton Martial, Marcus Rashford, Scott McTominay, Brandon Williams, who else? Mason Greenwood, Haaland. You get? I think he has an eye for these players, and I think he sees that this player is going to prevail at Manchester United because he has been there in the Premier League. He has played there, and it's very easy for him to see players that really fit the Manchester United way at the Premier League. If at all, Kosi, I'm not wrong, all of the players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has signed, no players flopped at Manchester United. Are we together? Let me first ask you, maybe you can give me, you have a different view altogether. One, Harry Maguire.
Maguire, apart from the price, I think he's okay. He's okay, apart from the price, because price and making him captain too early. I think he's okay if you find a good partner for him. He's a good sign. He was a good sign.
A lot of things have changed in the Manchester United defense. You see the composure, the calmness in the defense. You see a lot of things have changed. If at all someone knows the defense of Manchester United without Harry Maguire, Lindelof and Bailey, Lindelof and Smalling, I think there is a very big change that Harry Maguire brought in the defense.
Yeah, actually, last season he played 38 games for Manchester United in 38, game weeks in the Premier League.
Or not only the Premier League, he played all the games of Carling Cup, of Carabao Cup. He played all games of the Europa. He played all games of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So apart from the armband, I think it's really piling a lot of pressure on him. I think the rest is okay. He's a very good defender, and today he has completed close to 38 passes in the game that England won over Belgium out of the 39 that he made.
Yeah.
And the statistics he had the previous season were better than those of Virgil van Dijk in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Another player that I was talking, I want us to, because we are analyzing the signings of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I'm seeing him as a spot-on manager, Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, I think Bissaka, Bissaka, even at Palace, you saw that he was a player ready for a bigger challenge, and Manchester United was spot on. They signed him. If you talk about, I think I'll rank him number 3 in the right back position in the Premier League. I'll rank Trent first.
Trent.
Yeah, because the problem with Alexander Trent is coming back defensive wise is not okay, but he's very good at going forward. And I'll rank Pereira, the Leicester City right back second, and then I'll rank.
He's nice.
Yeah, I'll rank Bissaka third. I have only problems with him is going forward. He needs to work out on his going forward.
If at all he improves his final ball, trust me, he will be the best fullback in the world. Because defensively he's okay, but his final ball is poor. His movement is okay, but when he reaches those areas to bring in those crosses and square in the ball into the 18-yard box of the opponent, it's really poor.
And at times I wouldn't blame him, because if you look at what they were playing at Palace, at Palace you have a Wilfried Zaha who occupies those flanks. You don't need to do much. You just need to defend, carry that ball forward, and then Wilfried Zaha will do the rest. Which isn't the case at Manchester United. The wingers at Manchester United are almost strikers. Greenwood is more of a striker. Rashford is more of a striker. So you have to do your role as as a fullback. Bringing those crosses, they must be accurate and so on. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager has to improve that on the player, because that's what you add to a player as a manager. If he's lacking something and it is key, make him understand and add that attribute to him. But he's a remarkable signing.
But I'm also wondering, do you know that Aaron Wan-Bissaka, before he went to the fullback, he was a right winger? And I'm just
thinking about that.
Yeah, it's true. You can research about. He was a right winger. So I'm only asking myself, if he was a right winger, what type of process did he bring in? Because his final ball is very poor, as you've said.
I think it was like Bebe.
Bebe. You are making us remember Bebe. Ferguson brought him in and told us that this is the next Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh my God. Bebe used to cross balls and they would go the other side of the pitch. And they wouldn't even...
It was like from corner to corner.
Yes, that was his problem.
So corner to goal kick.
Let's continue to other signings. The other signing is Daniel James.
Yeah. James, I think one of the players that started so well this season, the last season, was Danny James. Danny James. I love his pace. I love his work rate. He has the passion. Actually, when you looked at that Manchester United side, and the reason that's why he made so many assists for Marcus Rashford, he has that passion. He played with a lot of passion. I think it was the pressure as time went on. The pressure, fans demanded more. Everything was too heavy for him. But I think he would be a very good, signing if he was a squad player. You have a player like, if you had a player like Jadon Sancho, and then you bring on Danny James at some point in time, in the 70s, in the 75 minutes. I think he's a decent signing. One player, those are the kind of players that you need. You remember Ferguson had players like Jason Park, those kind of players, those players that wait for the bench. They would change a game, the Chicharitos.
Yes.
Those kind of players. I think he's that kind of player. You don't need to put so much pressure on him, but select your 11. Let's, if you want to make a change, bring him on the pitch, give him instructions. He's just going to do well. But I think he's a good signing. If you gave him to a club like Aston Villa, or you gave him to Leeds, they would just destroy you. And I think it would be a big mistake, to sell him to Leeds.
I think Daniel James he's a very good player. If at all he plays off from the left wing, that's what I think, because all of the games that he plays well, he plays off from that side. And I really tell some people that James is not a bad player. He's a very good player, but the problem is one: he is not allowed to do what he's supposed to do. And most of the time, he does not play with the first team of Manchester United. Trust me, if at all, this is not like a doom. I'm not dooming Marcus Rashford to get an injury. If at all Marcus Rashford gets an injury and he's played off the left with the likes of Bruno Fernandes, the way he passes, and how he bursts in space, he's a very, very quick player at first. So I think he's not a right winger. He's a left winger. And that's why Marcel Bielsa needs him, because he knows Leeds plays a counter-attacking game. They hold you on the break. So that's why he needs him. But I think all the signings that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has made, the last signing he made before these other ones that came in was Bruno Fernandes. For Bruno Fernandes, he doesn't need any other further explanation at Manchester United. Anyone just knows that it was a superb signing. He changed around things within months at Manchester United.
Yeah.
So that's what I was telling you. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a manager. Look at what the signings has brought on. He is very different from other managers that have been at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
So I think when you see him telling him, get me the Pellistris, the Amads, Traore, Alex Telles, and Edson Cavani have question marks. I don't think that was the signing of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think I also agree with you. For Pellistri and Amad Traore, I disagree with you. But for Edson Cavani, I really agree with you that he is a Manchester United. He's not a signing of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So, Kosi, we proceed on to something else.
Yeah.
The next 6 fixtures of Manchester United.
Yeah.
One of the fixtures, we are playing Newcastle away from St. James's Park.
Yeah.
We go away to PSG in Paris.
Exactly.
We come back to a team that you support. We are hosting it at Old Trafford, and that is Arsenal. After playing PSG. So first take me through those 3 fixtures and let's go. I want you to talk about that fixture of Manchester United and Arsenal, and include also the absence of Anton Martial having been given a straight red card as we play Tottenham Hotspur. Let's roll.
Actually, Rokan.
Yes.
You have Newcastle on Saturday. You
17th.
have 17th. You have PSG on Tuesday.
And Arsenal.
And no, the following weekend you will be hosting Chelsea first.
It's Chelsea.
Yeah, it's Chelsea first, then Leipzig, then Arsenal.
It's Newcastle, Paris Saint-Germain,
Chelsea.
Then Chelsea, RB Leipzig, then Arsenal. Yes, you're right. Thanks for the correction.
It's okay, but you know this is a hell of a fixture. I thought Arsenal had the hardest fixture, but this is a hell of a fixture for Solskjaer.
Yes.
Did you say they gave him 6 games to to choose whether he stays or goes?
I heard of a story, but one thing I can assure people that they cannot sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the 6 games. They cannot sack him. They cannot sack him because if at all he's to be sacked, he has to play close to 10 Premier League games. 10 Premier League. What matters a lot for the Edwards and the Glazers is the Premier League. Even if they don't go through the group stages of the Champions League, because for them what they want, each and every time they're not in the Champions League, they get £40 million. When they're into the Champions League, they get £75 million from Adidas. So if at all Ole Gunnar Solskjaer assures them that we are going to get Premier Champions League football next season, they won't sack him.
Yeah. Okay. So your first game is you will take on Newcastle.
Anton Martial away. He's not around. He's not playing that game.
You don't have Martial. Of course, if you look at how Newcastle have been doing, they don't have the best records right now. They beat West Ham. They beat West Ham this season, 2-0. Then you move over to their next performance. They beat Blackburn 1-0 in the EFL Cup. They were beaten by Brighton 3-0 at home. They moved on in the EFL Cup and beat Morecambe 7-0. They had a 1-0 draw with Tottenham Hotspur, which was a crazy match. VAR and all those stuff. They also beat Burnley 3-1 still. So if you look at where they stand on the table, they have played 4 games and they have 7 points. That is quite that's impressive. 4 games, they have 2 wins, 1 draw, and lost 1 game. So it means it's not going to really be an easy game for Manchester United, especially that by the fact that you're going away from home. But one, you're going to the St. James Park. It's a hard fixture. 2, you want to bounce back. You're coming from this international break, so players have not been together. That is one. But you also have that 6-1 loss against Tottenham Hotspur, Spurs, which can be an advantage or a disadvantage. An advantage in a way that you want to bounce back, so you need to use all the might and all the power to come back. A disadvantage, it will depend on how much it affected the morale and and the believability in the team, how we believe in ourselves. But I think United can still win this game. Solskjaer can still win, this game like a 2-1 against Newcastle.
You see, things are funny. Scorsese.
Yeah.
You never predict the situation into these games. United and Newcastle have had very fantastic and interesting encounters. In the history, when you see the games that United has played against Newcastle, it's always, if United is to win, United wins that game with a 2-goal margin.
Yeah.
And each and every time United is to lose, it loses by a margin of 1 goal.
Yeah. And
So
I'll tell you, last season, I think it was a difference of 1 goal. I don't remember the player, but it was a difference of 1 goal.
it was long stuff.
Yeah, long stuff, exactly. Long stuff made the difference. But Newcastle played very well, and Manchester United was in the same situation like this. United was not so, playing so well. Everything was not going so well, and Newcastle took advantage. Probably United has to be reminded of those times. You need to come in this game, thinking you're gonna play Liverpool.
True.
Yeah.
Yes, the game of Newcastle is a game that is going to make a very big turnaround
Yeah.
on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's season. It means a lot
Yeah.
because if you win against Newcastle and if you lose against Chelsea, no one is going to blame you that you've lost against Chelsea. But people will go back and say, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is really deteriorating himself because the previous season he won 2 games against Chelsea, home and away in the Premier League. So I think the Newcastle fixture is so much crucial to the morale of Manchester United players
Yeah.
because they're having very big fixtures ahead of that, after that fixture. That is PSG, Chelsea, RB Leipzig, and Arsenal.
If I should say this, if Manchester United loses to Newcastle, there is a possibility that they will lose all the next 3 fixtures:
It's
PSG,
possible.
Chelsea, and Leipzig. There is a possibility.
True.
However, if United can grab a point against Newcastle, it might be the start of a comeback. Because what right now Solskjaer needs is the start of a comeback. How do I come back? How do I change the narrative? Because the narrative right now is against Solskjaer. Everything written in the narrative around United is against Solskjaer. So how do I change the narrative? How do you change the narrative? Is getting the start to a comeback. And this is when he needs his dressing room, which in quotes some people say he's losing. He's losing. He has a fight with Bruno. Pogba says he wants to go to Real Madrid. Maguire is frustrated and so on. And then you can see what's happening. But still, and then
Dan Van Beek's agent coming in and tells Solskjaer that, please, I see my player can be a starter in your team. I brought him at Manchester United not to be on the bench because they are players that you are putting in your starting lineup. That Dan Van Beek is better than them. That's also some other issue that is really bobbing into the head of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But Kose, if I thought I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, according to the squad that I'm having, I would have been very confident because trust me, United just needs to compose itself and tell Harry Maguire to command his defense very well. Because one thing you'll be assured of Manchester United, goals will come in for Manchester United.
Yeah.
Goals will come in. But the problem will come in. Harry Maguire, the most expensive defender in the world now, one of the most, after Pogba, he's the most expensive player on the pitch.
Yeah.
And he does things that even a Uganda, I'm from Uganda, you are too from Uganda.
Yeah.
Even a player that plays for a Uganda Cranes team cannot do however much he plays for a low league team. You get?
Yeah.
So I think the problem with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is he should work on his defense. He should tell them that let's be like how we played the previous season. It was the same defense we are using, but as we speak now, we should defend each and every ball that comes in. Let's not concede.
Yeah,
because
I think that's one of the that's the first thing he has to do, because much of the pressure, much of the criticism is on Lindelof and Maguire and David De Gea, because if De Gea dares to concede any goal that is substandard, they're going to ask him, you have one of the best goalkeepers, one of the best English goalkeepers in Dean Henderson, why don't you play him? That's going to just fuel more pressure. So I think he needs to tell the boys, let us calm down, let us play good football, let us try to play football in the next 6 fixtures, which are not going to really be easy. Even if it were for Eurocan and you have such a squad. I remember for us, we had Unai Emery last season. because Mikel Arteta almost inherited the same team Unai Emery had, and then Arteta, drives the team forward, but under Unai Emery it was running backward. So the pressure under which he's operating, it might actually force him to forces him to be running backward and so on. But I still think that United's team has the potential. If they finished third last season, almost having 10-11 games unbeaten in a row, there is nothing that can stop Manchester United. If you look at Chelsea, they have Chelsea, but Chelsea is not yet prepared. Chelsea is not yet set up. Lampard has not found a starting lineup, so they are not really scary. Timo Werner has not banged in 10 goals. Havertz has not made 10 assists. Ziyech has not appeared on the pitch. They still have goalkeeping and defensive issues. You can exploit that. I think Chelsea are still beatable. Newcastle, although they have some good results, but they shouldn't be a match to Manchester United. I think United should can win those two fixtures. For Arsenal, that can be a draw. It's my team. I cannot really say you can beat us, you guys, but I think you can grab a point against us. You can, since you're at home, you can grab a point against us. No, that would be well done. Can you beat PSG? Can you can beat Leipzig, because Leipzig is really scary when it comes to the Champions League and in German football. But you can still beat Leipzig, because I still remember when Solskjaer was under pressure last season. He beat Pep Guardiola and Tottenham Hotspur. You still remember those fixtures, Rokan? And Chelsea, and all of us were like, what? Yeah. So I think this is a hard time for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's a really hard time. He has had to accept this, that now I'm in a very, very hard time. But how do I bounce back? How do I get the results? That is how he should be. Let him get his dressing room intact. That's where it begins. That's where football is made, the dressing room.
You see, Kosi, you are talking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer turning out things in a very miraculous way. Now, the previous season, I have some fixtures in here. United won, first loss to Watford. You remember that game where De Gea made a howler, 2-0.
Yeah.
It came in and won against Newcastle 4-1. United went ahead and lost, or won Burnley 2-0. They lost to Arsenal 2-0. They drew with Wolves. They lost to Manchester City in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. They won Norwich. They won Wolves. They lost to Liverpool 2-0, and they went ahead to lose to Burnley 2-0. So this was the fixture where people say that Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are going to part ways because of the following fixtures. And the following fixtures were Tranmere, Man City, Wolves, and Chelsea. So the board gave Ole Gunnar Solskjaer 4 games. If at all he lost, he was going to lose the job of Manchester United.
Yeah.
And guess what happened? He came at Tranmere. He wipes them 6-0. He goes to Man City in the EFL Cup semi-final return leg. They come at Old Trafford. He wins 1 goal. He wins them by 1-0. He draws with Wolves. That's when Bruno Fernandes comes in,
Yeah.
And then he wins the game of Chelsea 2-0. And then he goes ahead to win against Watford 3-0. He goes ahead to wipe Club Brugge 5-0. He drew against Everton. He won against Derby. He won against Man City. And he won against Lask. That's when he went into the pandemic break. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is like, he's really having an angel on him that really turns around things when the things are worse. And it has been proved at Manchester United that when United best needs Solskjaer, that's when he best comes and shows that really, United, I'm the man you should give this team because I've passed you through this storm. What do you think about that process?
Yeah, I think last season he did very well under pressure. like you say, like read out those fixtures, starting from that Trent Murray game, beating almost, actually getting 9 points from 3 top 4, rivals. That was a remarkable run. But right now, if I look at the fixtures he has to fight, and just in the Premier League, he has, like we say, he has Newcastle, which he must win. He must win to start with. So he has Newcastle there. He will have Chelsea, Arsenal, and then Everton. Now the difference with Everton is in form. Arsenal is we are a team that is struggling to get balance, just like United. But the difference we have is that we are somehow ahead. We have found some solutions to our problems. If only Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can find those solutions like he did last season. You see, last season he had a starting lineup. Not one lineup that you wouldn't say is so scary. Oh my God, but it was there. Fred playing with Scott McTominay. Pogba is out. You don't have a Bruno Fernandes before January, but he used to win his games systematically in that order. And I think if there is a problem that you have Bruno Fernandes bringing in this big ego and so on, you can put him out of the team for the time being. Let him sort out himself. If the problem is Pogba, let him sit out of the squad. Sort out your best 11. And at times the best 11 doesn't have these big sounding games, because Rokan last season, Pogba was out of that team, Bruno was out of that team. That is when you guys went almost collecting 9 points from top 4 from the top 4 clubs. If Pogba is not really playing well, and I think managers need to learn this. If a player is not playing well, you need to be ruthless. Let them sit on the bench. I've seen Pep Guardiola do this. I've seen Klopp do this. He'll push you out of the starting lineup. And I'm really happy with what Mikel Arteta is doing at Arsenal. Mesut Ozil, you're not playing well, out of the team. Matteo Guendouzi is out of the team. Socrates is out of it. Whenever you're ruthless, you can cope up with the pressure. But right now, I doubt if he drops Bruno, more pressure is going to come on. But
don't expect Ole to drop Bruno. He cannot drop Bruno.
I know.
He's the one that saved his job. If it wasn't Bruno, he wouldn't have been a Manchester United manager. Trust me, he wouldn't.
Yeah. But
and he should also be thankful to God that Paul Pogba got injured and Marcus Rashford. That's why the board got him Bruno Fernandes, because they had nothing to do, because the team was led.
Yeah, but I'm looking at this internal war between Bruno and Solskjaer. How deep do you think it is?
It's just escalated. It's overhyped. Trust me, Kosi.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes just acted as any concerned player, and any coach will understand that. You get? So he saw all the players. He looked at Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, having been into the ruckus in Greece and what is on his head, you wouldn't expose him to a player like the aggressiveness that Bruno Fernandes came out and busted out into the dressing room. So the coach, as a very understanding person, he knew that if at all he really let the blame from Bruno Fernandes hit directly to Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire is just trying to improve from the situation he was into Greece, just to get back into his mental understanding. So he had to sacrifice Bruno for Harry Maguire. Even if it were me, that's what I would have done, because I need Harry Maguire on the pitch. Do you know that?
Yeah.
And the problem is Harry Maguire has his problem. So they are just trying to bring him mentally. So he needs a backing from the coach. He really needs a backing from the coach. And Bruno Fernandes has done nothing bad. You get? Anyone, the public will sympathize with him. But if at all, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got off or let Bruno Fernandes bust at Harry Maguire, and all he took off Harry Maguire from the pitch after costing United close to 2 goals, all 3 goals, that would have compiled more pressure on Harry Maguire. Yet we have very many important fixtures that Harry Maguire is needed to be set or to be in full sense of those games and focus. And I think certain things are just created. And I think, don't think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is foolish. These are tactics that Ferguson used to do whenever he was going to face teams in the Premier League, such that they lose concentration on the team, and the coach will say that no, their dressing room is in this area. You get Kosi. These things were very much done by Sir Alex Ferguson. I remember the game when United was going to play a return leg with Real Madrid. I think it was 2004.
Yeah.
Do you know what Sir Alex Ferguson did? Although they had misunderstandings with David Beckham, Ferguson threw a shoe to hit David Beckham, and David Beckham tried to dodge the shoe, but it ended up hitting one of the cheeks, all near the eye.
Yeah.
And what Ferguson did, if at all a club doesn't want news to go out to the media, they will reserve that news, and it won't get out, because trust me, we don't know whatever news that happens in the club. Players fight, they do blah 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 blah, but we don't know. But when something comes out from the club, like something concerning Bruno Fernandes, remember it happened on Sunday, the previous Sunday, but it has escalated into news the past 2 days. It is up in the news. That means there is a force that is bringing it in the news. They're making the opponents think that Manchester United is not united now, and the manager is not okay with his dressing room. But the fact is, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has that dressing room. These are tactics that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has learned from Ferguson. They are trying to get off these questions of, like in the press conference, asking him, you never brought your priority signing. So they're doing a diversion, and I think it's a PR stunt that has been drawn by Manchester United. It is a PR, and trust me, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Bruno Fernandes, because look at Bruno. Bruno is a very calm person. He's understanding, and that's why he has not yet reacted to anything that is in the news.
You know, so some fans, I was talking to a Manchester United fan yesterday, and he told me maybe Bruno is starting to feel inevitably wanted in the team, inevitably needed in the team. And it most so happens when a player feels they're having the team on their shoulders. Do you think that could be something like that, or you think it's just a simple fact that they got over and it's over?
I think if you watch the semi-final, Bruno is a certain person. Even in his first game of Manchester United, when he played against Wolves, you saw him as a leader. He's a leader on the pitch. And he came out and said, when he was telling those players after the halftime, when United was four goals down against Tottenham Hotspur, he told them, you guys, this is a United shirt. We have to play knowing that we are putting on a United shirt. So Bruno is a winner. He came at Manchester United to win. So I think he looks at these players. He knows they have the potential, but they are relaxing. They are not giving 100% to the club. I think that's why he, even in the semi-final of Sevilla, where United lost 2-1, that's why he backed at Lindelof and told him, man, why are you conceding this goal stupid like that? Because he thinks these players have a lot to offer at Manchester United, but they are not offering it. So I don't think that, trust me, I'm telling you this from here. United not having Bruno Fernandes and the coming of Danny Van Beek, trust me, Danny Van Beek can come on and play a role of Bruno Fernandes. Trust me, he can. He can. So one thing I'm sure of, it's not like Bruno is feeling like he's the big lad of the club. He's not. Bruno is not bigger than Rashford, I'm telling you. And even if they are to put their fans to vote and bring in numbers, Rashford is more loved in the world than Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes has to do what he did the previous season, close to 2 consecutive seasons, this season and the next season. That's when he will get out the likes of David De Gea and Marcus Rashford in the picture of the fans. He's a good player, but I think it's inbuilt, it's naturally inbuilt in him, because I was reading of a story that he did the same thing to the players of Sporting Lisbon. He sent them a voice note and it leaked. He sent them a voice note and it leaked. He told them, you are complaining about the fans telling you all booing you, but they are right to boo you because we shouldn't have lost to such a team when it was still in Sporting Lisbon. So that's his character. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been And I think for him, if I told the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer I know, who was a player captained by Roy Keane at Manchester United, Roy Keane even used to slap players.
Yeah, I understand. I still remember those days.
Yes, so trust me, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer really likes the fire. And to any manager, like let me first divert you from that. Look at how Anthony Martial got a red card. If I'm Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I'm a happy man. If at all a humble Anthony Martial can come in and start reacting to being bullied by another player, and also he does the same, if I'm a manager, I'm happy because I know now he knows that I'm a big lad in the team. No one should boo me. I'm a man who can turn around things. So when you have players like Anthony Martial, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, and many other players, if at all Pogba could pick up a character like that of Bruno Fernandes, United would be a very difficult team to beat. Because look at Bruno Fernandes, the game that we won against Brighton. We conceded an equalizer in the 93rd minute. Do you know what Harry Maguire did, the captain? He squatted and he held his head with two hands, knowing that the game is done. What does Bruno do and Danny Van Beek? They hold the ball. They say, let's go. They start the ball. Danny Van Beek crosses in the ball. It's deflected. It goes into a corner. Bruno Fernandes brings in the corner. Harry Maguire heads it. It strikes the hand of Maupi. It's a penalty. You get? That's the Manchester United that. Now a player like Bruno Fernandes, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Danny Van Beek, that's the real character that should be at Manchester United. And trust me, Bruno is going to be in the squad and in the team that is going to play against Newcastle.
Yeah, I know. You know, he just can't drop him. He just can't drop him. But you know, I was talking about that in this scenario, that if you have a player who's not really, who's not ready to play, whether physically, whether emotionally, you can just put them out of the squad, for the better. But let me ask you, if you had to choose that team that's that's going to play in the next 5 games for United, who would you place in that team? Because obviously, for me, I wouldn't go for a David De Gea. I would go for a Dean Henderson. I've been very straight with my opinions about all clubs, and I've already said Dean Henderson right now is not better than David De Gea, but he deserves to be in goal. Let him, let Ole Gunnar start to trust him. Bissaka is back. I think he missed the game, but I think he's back right now.
Bissaka is back.
Yeah, Bissaka is back. So I'll go for Bissaka. I'll go for Telles. There's no need. There is no reason as to waiver. I'm going to go for Luke Shaw. Bailey and Harry Maguire. I'll still go for Victor Lindelof. They have so many problems, but I'll go for Lindelof and Maguire. There is just there is a way Bailey doesn't just fit into that Manchester United squad. In the midfield, why don't you give Van der Beek a chance to play more regularly with either Matic and Fred, or you have McTominay, you have Van der Beek, and then you can play with them with Fred, Bruno, Rashford. You don't have this time you don't have Martial, so you call Rashford to come back as the 9, because last season when he was playing as the target man, he scored a couple of goals before he went to injury. He scored a couple of goals in that position. True. Although he was wasteful as you can be, but he scored a couple of goals. So you go for Marcus Rashford as your striker. Behind him, Bruno creates the chances. You give Greenwood some playing time, and then Manuel Mata can make some starting. Let Pogba, rest until he feels ready to play. But I want to know what could be your starting lineup for those 5 games.
My starting lineup, and I think this should be a lineup that United should adopt. This is what is running in my mind. I think United needs David De Gea in goal, because Dean Henderson, trust me, playing at Sheffield is different from playing at Manchester United. You get? Unless the board says that let's give Dean Henderson a chance. Sell off. The only reason I can agree for Dean Henderson to be in goal and De Gea to be on bench is when David De Gea is going to be sold, such that United raises funds to go in and bring Upamecano and Jadon Sancho. Because trust me,
You see, Rakan, why I would disagree with you on the goalkeeping issue. I think last season, when you look at the two teams, Dean Henderson was more vulnerable to conceding, more goals at Sheffield, because literally it was Sheffield. You have almost 10 clubs that are bigger than you in the league, so they're a bigger threat. You're not this kind of very much, possessing team. They're going to, you don't have possession all the time. And the shots, he stopped. And you look at David, he's literally like, he was literally like a prime David De Gea. They were in the same league, but he showed him that, David, I think this is what I can bring on the table. I would give him a chance. I would give him a chance.
trust me, if at all you do, giving him a chance wouldn't have been bad, because games are there and he's going to be given a chance. But I've told you, the only reason as to why I will see Dean Henderson start ahead of David De Gea is when David De Gea, a club comes in and says, I'm giving Manchester United 70 million pounds, I'm selling off David De Gea, and that money will be used to bring in Upamecano or to make our squad better. But on any day, David De Gea is in my goal, and I'm going to go for a 3-5-2 system. Because one, trust me, this is why I need this system. One, on all the games, the big games that United won the previous season, we went for this system, and that's why we won.
Yeah.
You get? Two, when you look at how Luke Shaw plays into that back three defense, he's a spark player. And there is a player that we brought in known as Alex Telles. The man comes with assists. His final ball is good. Because Luke Shaw's final ball is not good, yet I'll need his services in the defense, and he has proved that he can work well in that area. I'll let him partner with Harry Maguire and Eric Bailly as the back three. You get? So I'll bring Alex Telles, because I know Alex Telles, the system of 3-5-2 gives Alex Telles a lot of time to play alongside that line, because that entire line is his. He's a good person. His final ball is good. Manchester United doesn't have a person who takes free kicks that come off from the left. And he's a very good person. He carves them into the back of the net. He can bring in a very nice in ball into the 6 yards area, and it can land onto the head of a Manchester player, and entirely it's a goal. So I go for Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right wing. Right fullback. Alex Telles on the left fullback. I go for Danny Van Beek. I go for Freddy. I go for Bruno Fernandes as my three players in the midfield. Why do I bench Nemanja Matic? One, when you look at the games that United is going to play, they are games of high intensity. We need players that when they get the ball, they transcend, or they move with the ball, not like Paul Pogba. He gets the ball, he makes small touches, but he's not moving to the opponent. But look at a player like Danny Van Beek. When he gets the ball, he takes the ball to the opponent. Not even he doesn't do negative passing. He takes the ball to the opponent. The same applies to Freddy. That's what he does. The same applies to Bruno Fernandes. And the people that will lead the line, I'll put Daniel James and Marcus Rashford. Edson Cavani will be on bench.
Yeah, but
and Mason Greenwood will be on bench, because a moment, of course, when you look at Manchester United, if at all we are in the lead, like we've scored like 2 goals, it's very easy to go back to our flat 4, our usual system of 4-2-3-1. I get off a player in the names of Alex Telles, because we know we're in the lead. I put Luke Shaw back to where he belongs. Then I bring in Nemanja Matic. I take off like Freddy. Nemanja Matic comes in. He slows down the pace of the game. I can also bring in Edson Cavani or Mason Greenwood. I get off Daniel James. Marcus Rashford goes to his left wing. Then I go back to my system. So that's my team that I think can save Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from this baptism of fire that he might face if at all he doesn't win. These games are tricky. They are six, and they are tricky. RB
Yeah,
Leipzig is not the team to joke with. Arsenal is not the team to joke with. Chelsea, PSG, Newcastle itself.
I really pity him. He has a very hard fixture in a crisis. But I don't know what Manchester United fans. I don't know why they're putting so much pressure on him, because last season, despite losing three semi-finals, which was absurd. How do you lose three semi-finals?
And
But
you don't even reach a final of the three.
exactly, I think this season he has not started well, but that is bearable, because what United is one of the clubs that actually had so many fixtures. After completing the Premier League, you had to finish the Europa and so on. Now you start against Crystal Palace, you're smashed. Then Tottenham smashes you, and then you win ugly against Brighton. I think this pressure comes too early. In my own case, the pressure comes too early, and I think it's really going to cause a problem at Manchester United. If you brought in Pochettino is not a manager who works with bad tools. He's like a Guardiola. Actually, he's another version of Guardiola. Pochettino doesn't actually work with the Baileys and so on. If you look at the club that Pochettino had, he had Ken, he had Ericsson, he had Son, he had all the best players he wanted in his team. He had Trippier and the others. And actually, when they left Tottenham Hotspur, when their performance declined, he was trash, real trash. Like, Mourinho is better than him, and how can Mourinho replace you these days? And you're all forgotten about. So I think United fans might be forcing the club to make a big mistake by pushing out Ole for someone like Mauricio Pochettino. I think the pressure comes to
Kosi, trust me, there is a portion. If on the 100% fans that support Manchester United, only 20% really want Ole out. Trust me. But these things are just put in the media. I think, but even Pochettino wants the job. You get? That's what even the manager, the agent of Jose Mourinho was doing. When Louis van Gaal was a Manchester United manager, news started to come out that Manchester United is in talks with Jose Mourinho. You get? That makes the coach uncomfortable, meaning that, I'm not even liked to the club, yet I'm dying for the club. You get? So the fans really love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They love him, and they've not yet said that they don't want him at the club. Their problem is one: is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a winner? Will he win the trophies? That's their big question. But me, as Rokana United fan, I have strong belief in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that is going to see us to where we are supposed to be. Because look at only his signings. Ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left, he's the only manager that has brought on all his signings and they've been spot on. Even if it's Edson Cavani, however much is not the signing of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but he's going to come in and bang in the balls because he has the supplier. And who is that? All right, so that was costly for you, and he has left. So, guys, I think we should end it here. Thank you guys for watching. In Jennifer Williams, Gillen Gita, thank you. The Loop 256, you guys have been amazing. So I sign out for now. We are going to be doing this on a daily. Let's bring in, you guys have the right to come in into and tell me what you think about what United is all about, provided the topic we are talking about. I'm Rokan, I'm out. See